Hello, welcome to our section on loops, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to my website. My name is Daryl, and this is Programming in Any Language. The website is www.blackdashduck.com. It's where you'll find all my videos organized in a logical order. And this is the loop section. Loop section is a series of short videos designed to give you the tools to have your programs do repetitive tasks. The first one I want you to look at is the do-while loop. Not to be confused with the while loop. In fact, this is a post-test loop. Post-test. It tests after it executed at least one block of code. It checks a condition after a block of code has been executed. And only after that block of code has been executed does the test actually occur. And of course, it gets tested every time a block of code is executed. It goes round and round and round, keeps checking it. It does this repeatedly until the condition is false. When the condition is false, the program continues down its normal path. What's going to happen is it's going to execute the code at least once. What you need to understand here is that your block code will execute even if the value of your test is false. It forces that first execution. Like all preceding loops, this is something that's easier to understand if we see it in action. So let's go ahead and do that and take a look at the video.
Okay, let's take a look at our last loop. That's going to be the do-while loop. It's a post-test loop as opposed to the other two we've seen before. It means that it performs an iteration before testing the Boolean expression. So it's always going to do something first and then do the test. In the flowchart, you can see one or more statements are executed before a Boolean expression is tested. The generic format is the do, then you have your block with the statements, and the while comes after the block. Which actually checks the Boolean expression and continues. So you're always going to have one set of these statements going through. Why? Sometimes you need that to actually happen. Sometimes you want that to virtually have some statements to execute first. The requirements depend upon what you're actually using it for. So it depends on the application that you're using. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at the message box here. We're going to set an int called number, which is your counter, equal to 1, and do. Message box, number to string, you're going to set that while number is less than 0. Well, in this case, it's never going to execute because your do is in here. Well, it's actually going to execute once because it actually gets in here while number is less than 0, so it's going to kick it out after it's done. So this do is going to happen even though the number is sitting at 1, it's actually greater than, so it goes through this process. What are you going to see with this message box? Int number is equal to 1, while number is less than 0, show this. So while it's less than 0, this is never going to happen. So in this case, it would never happen. In this case, it would happen at least once, even though number was equal to 0. So that's the difference between a do-while and a while loop as you're looking at that. Let's take a look at some code and see how this actually happens. I've got our friend here, the application we've been using for the while loop and the for loop, and I'm going to add another button here. Grab this button right here, and we'll pop it in and grab the while loop button here. I'm going to change the name on this guy to do while. Let's put a do in front of it. And will that fit? Yeah, it kind of does. Okay, that's great. We'll call it the btn do while and set that up. We'll go into the code on this guy right now. We've got our same old stuff here. The same guys are sitting up here that we had before. So we'll take a look at this thing. And what we're going to say here is we're going to set it up. So we're going to do a do. First we're going to set int counter is equal to a -1. And then we're going to say set our do up. So we do the do first, then we set up our block. So our block is going to be sitting here, and the while is going to have, we'll just put that in right away. We'll say while int counter is less than 5. And we'll let that sit, and we'll hit a semicolon here and pop it in. Then inside our box here, we're going to literally put our code that we want to execute. And what we want to do is we want to increment the counter. So int counter is equal to int counter plus 1. That increments it. Okay, I can't spell, so we'll just fix that up real quickly. And looks like I got it that time. And we're going to say the LBL counter dot text is equal to int counter to string. Pop that in there. So again, we won't see it till the very, very end because it's gonna go through the loop and then give us what's got left. And we're going to say we want our LBX stuff, our LBX out, or our LBX original dot selected index equal to int counter, just like we did before. In the other one, we're going to be using the counter to actually point to the object inside our list box. Once we've got that in place, we can basically say our LBL out is going to be equal to our add. In fact, we can just do a copy here. We'll just grab this guy. So it's the same thing in all these, and pop the code in here like that, and that's done. So basically, what's happening? We're setting our int counter to -1. Int counter is going to be int counter plus 1, which is going to make it 0. And then we're going to take that and put that number inside our label. We're going to go ahead and get the index for 0, and then list it out. And then while it's less than 5, we're going to go through this process. So let's go ahead and save it. Do a start. And as the program comes up, I can see it going right here. We're going to hit the do while here, and bang, it does 5 of them. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and sits on 5. So the counter is sitting at 5. We've got books, attacks, should be Taz, again through Porky, coming down to our list. So that works out just fine for us. So the do while. Now let's take a look at something. The problem with this is, say we go ahead and set this thing to a -2. It's going to try and execute this, even though. In fact, let's do this. Let's do it this way. Let's make it a 6. Let's make this a 6, which is greater than 5. And go ahead and do a save on this thing, and run it, and do a start. And so we know it's equal to 6. So while it's less than 5, we want it to do these things. So we don't want to do it because it's just sitting at a 6. But because it's going to do the application before it does the test, it's going to, it's a post test. So it's going to go ahead and do it. So we hit run, and Tweety pops up. It goes down to the very, very last one, 6. It runs it, and then it ends because it finds out it is definitely not less than 5 when we actually did it. But that first one did count. It did grab it and make it happen. The other thing I was going to point out, what if you're sitting at, and all of these don't have any checks in them, so -2 is going to sit right here. And I'll do a save on this. And what's going to happen here is -2 is going to go into the do loop. It's going to increment the counter to a -1. -1 is nothing. It doesn't find anything here. So what's going to happen when we run this thing? If we take a look at it and run it and execute, wait a second, it blew up. There it is. It blows up. It goes ahead and gives us an error. It throws an exception on this particular thing. So you want to be able to check on these things to make sure that your numbers are correct, that you're within a range. And we'll be getting to that down the road as we'll see this. We're going to be using loops now in just about everything you do. We read files, write files, work with arrays, work with methods, all those kinds of things. Loops are going to be very, very important. These are the basics, though, what we learned right now. So we've got the basics down. Now we can use our loops, and we can go on and use them in other applications with other tools.
What you should understand here is that this type of loop runs for as long as the condition is true. But even if false, the block of code is executed once. The do-while loop consists of a block of code. This consists of what should happen if the condition is true and first time through. It's what you'll execute. Condition. You specify the condition to be evaluated after. That's after each iteration. If true, the loop continues. If false, it terminates. For now, what you need to take out of this video is, this is a pretest loop. There's 2 parts, the statement or statements to execute and the condition. That's it for loops. That's all there are. 3 good ones. We'll look at file processing in the future videos, and you'll find that loops are an integral part of file processing. We'll also look at some applications that use loops. So You'll get some experience using them in different situations. But that's the future. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to use the website for easy access to all my videos. It will help. If you get a chance, please subscribe. That way you'll be notified when something new is available. And that's about every week. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.